So, we have an article here in The Guardian. California is going to attempt it for the fourth time. I mean, I think there's 3 other states that attempted like a single payer universal health care. Vermont, Colorado, some other state. Let me see. I had it pulled up right here. Vermont, Colorado, and Massachusetts. And what happened to happen was huge tax increases. Now, of course, they try to hide it here with, increasing the payroll tax, which is just like a stupid sleight of hands because only economic illiterate would think that you're just increasing taxes on their employers. No, a payroll tax comes out directly out of your pay because it costs the employer to hire you. So when you work, your salary costs the employer, and payroll taxes that the employer pays to have you work for them also cost the employer. So they add both of them up. Higher payroll taxes, the less you get paid. Okay, pretty simple, but I love it how they always try to pull the sleight of hands. They always try to increase the payroll taxes. It's like, oh look, you're just taxing the corporations. No, you're just taxing your income. Sorry. At least if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna raise taxes, at least be goddamn honest. Just be honest, and put that tax increase on the people paycheck stub. And if they actually like the service, if they feel like it's worth it, they'll because of the cost, the benefits outweigh the costs. Okay, be as it may, that's fine. But the sneaky way that they're backhanded way that they're trying to tax people, so they only see the benefit and don't see the cost. That you can already tell that's not you're not starting off on the right foot here. And do I want California? You know what? Yes, I do. I think it's a bad idea. I think they're going to fail. I think even if they vote to succeed, if the vote succeeds, implementation, because once they see the price tag, and that's another thing too. A lot of left-wing people, they would say, oh, well, even the conservative Mercatus Center, the Koch brothers think tank, even they said that single payer is cheaper than what we have right now. But if you listen to the author, he did a couple interviews. Basically, he assumes that you're cutting compensation, doctor compensation, or just cutting all the bills in half, and that's unprecedented. I don't know. I mean, okay, that's cool. Let's say if you were to do that, I mean, that's a lot of political will, because right now you have entrenched interests like doctors. Could you believe? I mean, it's one thing passing these new taxes. It's another thing by telling the doctors, hey, your compensation is going to be cut in half. I mean, is it possible? Yeah. To me, I highly doubt it. It'd be so painful. They are not going to cut the compensation in half. They're not going to cut costs that much. Maybe they're going to cost a little bit here and there, but realistically, the price tag is going to be enormous, and the taxes too, because unlike the federal government, the states actually they don't print money. They actually bring that money in. So I think it's going to be rough, even if they vote to pass it. Once people see the tax bill, it's going to be so enormous that it's just going to fail even after the vote. Or if they try to, I mean, I'm really curious to see. I used to live in California. I moved to Ohio. I still have an LLC that's registered in California. I need to remind myself. I need to move that out of there before this passes, because they're just going to increase taxes across the board. Especially why am I going to pay that? I don't even live in California. But I suspect that a ton of businesses are going to move out. And I would also like to see what the epic fail, what universal health care really means, how bad it's going to be, what type of, I mean, maybe it's going to be great. Maybe I'm going to eat my words. Maybe I'm going to prove them wrong, but I highly doubt it. And I think what type of access people are going to have, if doctors are compensated by half, what type of quality, what type of access, how long you have to wait for this. If it's any indication, I mean, I've been to a DMV in California. You have lines wrapping around the building. And it's not like it was like a surge of people. No, it's basically that every day. And these DMV workers are not bright enough or not incentivized enough to just put some chairs out. People, lines wrapping around the corner. The staff is overwhelmed. You have like 4 or 5 hour wait. And just people sitting in the grass, people sitting in the dirt, sitting on the ground. I mean, could you imagine if that was a business? They would open new locations. They'd be happy. They would just bring out cabanas and seats and hammocks for their customers to wait or whatever. So just I know I've interacted with the state firsthand, and I'm telling you, it's bad. So I don't think, but chances are, I don't think they're even going to pass it. I mean, which is telling you something. I mean, it's supermajority Democrat, and well, let's see how it goes. California could be the first in the U.S. state to offer universal health care to residents. And by residents, I mean they have a lot of, let's say, undocumented immigrants. So could you imagine? Can you imagine offering free healthcare to them as well? I mean, the bill. California is considering creating the first government-funded universal healthcare system in the U.S. for state residents. The proposal, which lawmakers will begin debating on Tuesday, would adopt a single-payer healthcare system that would replace the need for private insurance plans. Yeah. Also, I mean, I'm not a fan of American current healthcare system and the insurance companies and what type of regulatory monopoly capture they had, and how they force everybody to buy their product, and what type of hidden price structures at it's all bad. It's all monopoly. It's all crony capitalism. But I wouldn't say it's free market, not by a long shot. Lawmakers are debating two bills. One will create universal healthcare system. Another would outline plans to fund by increasing taxes. Of course they are, especially for the wealthy individual and businesses. This is on top of, I could see if they got the SALT deduction cap removed. And then they're like, oh, okay, so wealthy people. No. The SALT still stays. Oh, and on top of that, here we go. New taxes increases for the wealthy. I mean, there's already a huge exodus out of California. It'd be hilarious to speed it up, like triple or double, treble or quadruple. The sweeping healthcare reforms face significant hurdles, including opposition from powerful lobbies of doctors and insurance companies. If the bills are approved by the legislators, voters would ultimately have to approve the taxes to fund the new system and an amendment to the California Constitution. Probably not going to happen. California has tried and failed to replace private. I mean, that's the thing. You got to give it to progressives. They're relentless. They'll keep trying and trying and trying and trying until your taxes are 100%. California has tried and failed to replace private health insurance with a universal state-funded program for years. Voters rejected such proposal in 1994, and as state lawmakers failed to find a way to fund single-payer healthcare system in 2017. Attempts to create universal healthcare nationally have failed to gain traction, despite promoted by prominent progressive lawmakers. And here, this sounds bad already, but this is coming from like a lefty Guardian website. I mean, I'm sure they're actually masking some of the. They're going to be masking. They're going to be presenting the peachiest possible scenario, masking a lot of the huge tax costs. Included in the 2020 presidential candidate, Senator Bernie Sanders. State legislators in Vermont and New York have also tried and failed to create universal health care plans. There are countless studies tell a single-payer healthcare system is the fiscally sound thing to do. Yeah, so just giving things away for free, that's the fiscally sound thing to do. Smarter healthcare policy to follow. It would actually, what about the details? Like, are you still going to be able to buy your own private insurance? So you're just going to be pay heavy taxes, and you're going to have free healthcare for, like, really shitty subpar healthcare, and then all the rich people are going to have their own health insurance? Or is it going to be regular health insurance companies are not going to be able to operate in that state? This is it. So you can't, quote unquote, like in Canada, skip the queue. So you have private doctors would be illegal. You have to go through their shitty healthcare system. I mean, talk about another tsunami of just people moving out. California Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, campaigned for office in 2018 with a promise of helping usher single-payer health system, but is facing re-election this year without making it clear whether universal health care is still a priority. I just said it to get elected. I think that the ideal system is single-payer system. We've been consistent with that for well over a decade, he said on Monday at a news conference. But he said he's not had the opportunity to review the plan being debated. Like, what do you mean? If you've been advocating that for 10 years, why would you have a plan in place? Well, you didn't have a time to review this or something? What? In the meantime, Newsom on Monday unveiled his own proposal to expand access to Medi-Cal, a state-run. Yeah. So basically, just like, oh yeah, we're not gonna do the sweeping change that I promised, but here's a, like, you know what I mean? We have a little budget surplus here. We can allocate a couple more dollars here or there, you know, because this actual universal health care, that's gonna be trouble. I might fail. The proposal approved by California legislator would expand health coverage for about 700,000 additional people. If it gets final approval this summer, it could take effect by 2024. Although inequities in healthcare access exacerbated by COVID-19 pandemic has intensified calls for healthcare reform, efforts to institute a universal healthcare system, even a public healthcare option, have historically faced implacable opposition from powerful private healthcare lobbies. Affordable Care Act, which expanded healthcare in the U.S., created insurance market exchanges where people without employer or sponsor insurance could shop coverage subsidies to help Americans afford insurance. So you just added bureaucracy on top of bureaucracy on top of bureaucracy, and good luck getting rid of that. It's like a nightmare. Talk about kludge. The legislation dramatically expanded healthcare access, but stopped short of creating a public government-run healthcare option. Despite reforms enacted by the ACA, medical bills remain the leading cause of debt for Americans. Well, yeah, if you wanted to lower, there's a lot of things that they could have done to actually lower healthcare prices. You know, let insurance sell across state lines, invite more competition, let foreign companies sell insurance here. Change the law. How about this? A lot of this stuff is expensive because of like a doctor has to do by law a bunch of procedures. Why not a licensed approved nurse? That's a much cheaper option. She could do like 80 or 90% of the procedures or checks or whatever. That would save a lot of money. I mean, there's a lot of super simple common sense things that would reduce the price by 2 or 3 times. Yet, instead of any kind of price reductions, you're going to create the Affordable Care Act that just basically like bloats the system even further. Affordable Care Act was supposed to be affordable, but it's the prices have been rising 10% every year or 15% every year. It's like out of control. Of course, the progressives are going to say, oh, well, because you killed the mandate or whatever. They're going to blame the Republicans because you killed the mandate. Were California to adopt a universal healthcare system, this state would funnel state and federal dollars to allocate it for the healthcare into a single government-run program. The insurance industry and business groups are rallying against this proposal, which would be paid for with higher taxes, mostly on the wealthiest individuals and businesses, but would increase taxes for all but the lowest earning Californians. Yeah, but what about the businesses that move out of California? What about the growth rate? The businesses that move out of California won't employ some people, then it won't employ some other people, and then it's going to get down to, you know, there's less jobs for everybody. Just because lower earning income people are not going to be taxed directly doesn't mean they're going to not suffer huge implications if the California economy goes down the shitter. Supporters of the plan say that despite the taxes, employers and individuals would pay less for healthcare coverage overall. A state-run system would also include more benefits more cheaply, no fucking way, by eliminating the need to account for insurance company profits. Oh, fun fact, insurance company profits, if you add up all the insurance company profits nationally, They're actually way less than the fraud in like Medicare or whatever. I mean, if insurance company profits are so booming, just invest in those insurance companies on the stock market. They're like some of their rate of return is garbage, like a couple percent a year. California Nurse Association over the weekend held a demonstrations in favor of the universal healthcare proposal. What are they gonna are they gonna be paid more? So what's their angle here? Because I know the doctors are not going to be demonstrating this because they're probably going to take a huge pay cut. Quote, as nurses, we've seen patients get care delayed or denied because they cannot afford it, said Kathy Kennedy, president of the California Nurse Association. Quote, this for-profit healthcare system has cost lives. Also, that few health insurance executives can line their pockets, end quote. Well, that is the depth of the analysis in The Guardian that we're going to get. Some rich people wanted to get richer, therefore people died. But, I mean, just the fact is, 50% of all medical spending is done by the government in the United States. And we still have this shit outcome, so let's say if we take away the other 50%, so like if the government does all the healthcare spending, are we going to get no people dying, no healthcare denied? Highly doubt that.